What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the KindaFunny Xcast, your home for all things Xbox here at KindaFunny. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, Snowbike Mike, and I am joined by my two gaming dads, the ultimate Spartans in the Halo universe, my guy Paris Lilly and Gary Whitta. Paris, I'll start with you. How you feeling, dude?
I'm good. I'm excited to have Gary back. I miss Gary, so this is going to be a good episode.
You're sweet.
We missed the new daddy in the building, is right. Gary Whitta back again, a new baby on board over in the
Congratulations.
house.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Gary?
Yeah, good. Just tired. You know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Paris knows. It's a lot. Newborns, you know, they're exhausting. They're the best thing in the world, but they're exhausting. And I've got a lot of work deadlines as well. So I basically took some kind of paternity leave from KindaFunny. I just started to kind of reintegrate myself back into the weekly, you know, Games Daily show that I do on Tuesdays, and this is my first time back on the Xcast. And to be honest, I probably shouldn't still be back. I'm still exhausted. I'm still very tired. But this was the show that I felt like I couldn't miss. You know, this is the big. We've talked about Halo a lot in the past, but now it's like it's basically here. It's real. We've got real experiences with it. I didn't want to miss this episode.
I appreciate that, Gary. And yeah, this is a wild one because this week on the KindaFunny Xcast, we're going to tell you our experiences from the hands-on preview that we got to be a part of, thanks to 343 and Xbox. But we'll jump into that a little bit later. I got one more question for the gaming daddy over there, Mr. Gary Whitta. Gary, baby number 2 now. You're battling all the tiredness. You're battling work previews. Now you have Halo in your hands. How hard was that to find that juggle and balance to be able to?
It honestly couldn't come out at a worse time. Mike. I joke, but it's very real. I was already maxed out on bandwidth with family stuff and baby stuff. Leah obviously does 90% of the hard work with the baby, but you know, just helping out is a lot. Plus, I got a bunch of work deadlines that are colliding at the end of the year. Plus, you know, all the holiday stuff starts to come on stream, and then of course, Halo, which is the funny thing about it is I'm sure we'll talk about multiplayer separately, but you know, because I didn't do the test flights, I didn't have a lot of thoughts. Now that I've actually played it, now that it's dropped, I've got a lot of thoughts and feelings about the multiplayer as well. But you know, just to kind of cut to the headline, I did not expect to enjoy it and get into it as much as I did. This is probably the most engaged, the most fun I've ever had playing a Halo game. Maybe because I'm actually strangely, bizarrely, surprisingly, I'm not terrible at it. I've been posting some of my leaderboards. I've been racking up some decent kills. I still don't consider myself good at all, but like, it's not the experience I thought I was going to have where I would show up and just get my ass handed to me over and over and over and just like rage quit and leave. I've been holding my own. I've been racking up some kills. Inching is the word, Mike. Inching my way up that battle pass. I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. Those little incremental gains that you get after every major victory. Here, have a breadcrumb of XP, and maybe we'll give you a trinket in 10 years if you keep playing. I've got a lot of thoughts on the battle pass as well, but I'm sure we'll get to that after we've talked about the campaign.
We are going to get to that. So let's jump right into today's episode. Of course, this is the KindaFunny Xcast. We post each and every weekend on Saturday at 6 a.m. West Coast, Best Coast time on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, and of course on podcast services around the globe. Don't forget that, of course, we are now Epic partners with a cool Epic partnership. You can go out and support KindaFunny in a brand new way. If you're buying V-Bucks on Fortnite, if you're upgrading that Rocket League car with some sweet cosmetics, or you're buying games on the PC over on the Epic Games Store, please use our Epic creator code KindaFunny at checkout. It's no additional cost to you. You can help support the team here at KindaFunny in a brand new way. Once again, at checkout, use our Epic creator code KindaFunny. We'd like to thank our Patreon producers for the month of November: Pranksy, Tyler Ross, Delaney Twinning, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, Alex J. Sandoval, James Hastings, and Casey Andrew. But, of course, we wouldn't be here without our sponsors, so we'd like to thank our sponsors for the week here at the KindaFunny Xcast: DraftKings, Fitbod, and Native. But we'll tell you all about that a little bit later. Let's jump into the big topic of the week. Everybody now has gone hands-on with a really cool Halo Infinite preview event. We get to play the first 4 missions of the game and get to explore Zeta Halo with some of the fun activities you can find on the ring. Paris and Gary, let's start off with just a brief one paragraph statement of what were your thoughts, spoiler free, What's this like, Paris Lily?
So let me start this way, and I'll try and keep this a paragraph, I promise. But ever since literally the formation of Xcast, even when I was just a guest on here, Halo has always been a big topic of conversation, be it the multiplayer, be it the campaign, whatever the case. We've had all different kind of opinions of what we think, this game was going to be. But now that I have had, roughly about 4 hours of hands-on time, through the first, 3 or 4 missions, and into the actual, and I'm doing air quotes, open world of Zeta Halo. I'll go back to something I've said a lot. This couldn't just be okay. It needed to be great. And I can say from what I've played so far, and we'll see as we continue, this is leaning towards being great. And that makes me very happy. And it goes to show that they needed the extra time, and they're delivering on it, because I've had a very enjoyable experience so far in this campaign, and I can't wait to keep playing more.
Yes, Paris, I like that energy, and I really love what you brought up there. And yeah, this has been the big topic. This is almost why the Xcast was created, right? Brand new console generation, Halo Infinite at the forefront, being one of the mainstays in the Xbox games library. And it's really, really special to go hands-on. And yeah, it's been about 4 hours, and I think you say it so well. If they continue to stick the landing, from what I've experienced here, this is one of the best Halo experiences I've ever had. This is one of those, turn the lights off, get comfy, grab your headset, and just zone everything out and get lost with Master Chief on this brand new adventure. And it is a ton of fun. It's something surprising to me, and we'll talk about it, when we put on this quote unquote open world and what that means and how do you keep the player engaged. It's one of those where I don't think it reinvents the wheel. It's not anything brand new or different, but because it's so new in the Halo universe, I think is what makes it so special and so unique and fun. And I am really enjoying my time on Zeta Halo, and I cannot wait to talk more about it with you too. Gary Whitta, what is your initial thoughts here?
I mean, they are very initial thoughts, because as you've said already, we've only played the first few hours. So in terms of the whole campaign, which I imagine is many, many hours, we're really just scratching the surface. But like you two, my initial thoughts with it are very positive. I didn't really know what they were doing this year. I was thinking, is it going to be open world? Is it going to be just another linear campaign? How are they going to experiment? How are they going to change things? And the first couple of missions are basically just old-fashioned kind of linear missions, right? Do a mission, cinematic, do a mission, cinematic. But then there's no spoilers, but there's a period in the story where the game does literally kind of open up, and you go, oh, they are doing. So it's funny how you've all qualified it. Paris did his air quotes. Mike, you kind of went quote unquote. Yeah, the sense that I'm getting is this is kind of like quasi open world, right? It's not strictly linear. And I remember thinking, like, for Halo, which is a game that I've always associated with kind of straightforward linear campaign storytelling, I thought, oh, this is actually kind of cool. I can go over here. I can kind of decide what I'm going to do next. And again, it's a little early to say, but from my initial experience with it, I like having that freedom and that agency of saying, I'm going to go do a side quest. I'm going to go discover this thing that just popped up on the map. I don't know if the game is really encourages like full freeform discovery as much as, like, a true kind of big sprawling Ubisoft type open world game might, but it's halfway between that and the linear, cinematic story progression that we've seen in the past. It's nice to be able to decide, I don't want to do the main story right away. I want to go do this thing over here. What's over here? What happens if I go discover this thing? And a lot of what I spent doing, rather than progress the story, was running around kind of like helping out my little platoons, my little kind of Spartan battalions that were UNSC battalions. It's like, a bunch of your guys, like this platoon is, or this company is like pinned down over here fighting some bad guys. Go help them. So you go over there and help them. And of course, Master Chief shows up, right? So he instantly is the kind of differentiating factor in the battle. And it does feel very like a very Master Chief thing to do. Like a bunch of regular soldiers are pinned down. Master Chief shows up, cleans house, and suddenly all the soldiers are like, yay, Master Chief is here. And it just feels like very Halo. It's, again, too early to say. That there's a lot of stuff that we probably haven't really discovered yet. But I will say, if you want just the paragraph, it feels like old school kind of Halo comfort food. It's Halo spaghetti and meatballs, but with some interesting kind of sprinkles on top that kind of makes it feel like they've at least tried to evolve the gameplay into something that feels a bit more open.
Like that.
If I can, I have to steal a phrase from Gene Park over at the Washington Post, because this is how he did his preview. He basically called this silent cartographer the game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yes. I thought that was a great analogy to it, because when I think of Halo, when I think of the moment that made me fall in love with Halo, it was that mission. Absolutely. And this feels like you said, this isn't really an open world. It gives you a bunch of things to do how you want to go tackle them. You don't have to tackle them. They can be optional, like these various points of interest. Like you said, helping out a band of Marines that are pinned down, or there might be a target that you could go after and you could get a special weapon from them, as an example. You don't have to go do those things, but you should, because that's how you get valor. That's how you're going to get your Spartan cores, and their Spartan cores points of interest as well. Obviously, the FOBs, the forward, what was it? I'm screwing it up, but it's like the forward operating base. Yeah. You want to take those down because that'll give you fast travel points. That'll allow you to get weapons, call in vehicles, things like that. I love all that, because it is giving me the sandbox to just go do what I want. Have fun with it. By the way, I'm playing on heroic difficulty. I feel like they ticked it up a notch. It doesn't feel like legendary, but it definitely feels a little more difficult than traditional heroic that I've experienced.
Oh, we just lost him.
He's pumped up about
that's
that.
all he experienced.
Yeah, that's all I experienced. Wait, I'm still here. Hold on. I don't know what that was. Wait, I don't even know what the last thing you guys
heroic,
heard.
You were on heroic difficulty.
Yeah. And I was saying that, it felt a tad more difficult than I've experienced in the past with Halo games, which is good. I like the challenge that heroic was giving me. And then obviously, as we get the final game, I'll definitely check out legendary as well. But it was good. Like just as a quick example, I did one of the points of interest to go help out some Marines. And as I'm doing that, all of a sudden, the Banished called in, like they dropped in, and it was those Berserker Banished, and they get me every time, every freaking time. I'm literally just moonwalking back.
He's done. He's gone again.
It's funny because
and he's back.
Paris brings up heroic, and I turned it on heroic too, and I surprisingly am getting a fun, good challenge out of it, and I'm really liking that. I really love the challenge and feeling like, man, I'm Master Chief, and now I need to use everything in my arsenal, and I need to take advantage of this sandbox, right? And I think, I'll let Paris go back again, but we're going to bring up the word sandbox a lot, and I think 343 nails.
And Discord is having a fiesta today. Wow.
I guess it'll be my turn next.
Yeah, give it a second if Mike comes back.
I'm back. Yep.
There we go. That's weird. I'll just jump in off of what you were saying. I was just finishing up with with those Berserker Banished and playing, dealing with them on heroic. I definitely felt the challenge with it. Pro tip that I did learn as playing is, I guess I'll just talk about the grapple hook really quick. I was surprised how much I enjoy using it. Obviously, not only to traverse through the environment, but it's literally a weapon, especially as you start to upgrade it, through the upgrade paths with the Spartan cores, because you can do the thing where you electrify the enemies, things like that. But believe it or not, the enemies that were giving me the most trouble early on, especially in those first couple missions where it's more linear, are the jackals. My God. Yeah. The freaking jackals were a pain in the butt. And I learned that if you hit them with the grapple hook, that'll knock their shield off. Yeah. And then you take them out. I was like, once I figured out that cadence with it, they weren't so much a problem before, but oh my God, they were giving me problems at first. And that's good. I'm glad that was happening, because I want that challenge for it. It felt like I was playing Halo, but the enemies, like, we've been doing it for 20 years. The enemies have also been dealing with Master Chief for 20 years. So they kind of stepped their game up too a little bit. You know what I mean? So it was good in that way. I really enjoyed that.
By the way, I just want to say I really do enjoy the grapple hook. It's a factor in multiplayer as well, but it's a much bigger deal in single player, where you basically have it all the time. There's a bunch of things I like about it. It's fun to use, right? It's just fun to kind of swing and rappel around on it. It feels heroic. It feels kind of Indiana Jonesy to be swinging around. It's like a new thing you can do. It adds a lot of kind of verticality to your encounters. You were like you always kind of look up and think, how can I, both in terms of kind of the environmental puzzle solving. There's stuff early on where it's like, well, you got to get up here. How are you going to figure it out? The rappel, the grapple hook doesn't latch onto everything. You've got to figure out what surfaces will work and what kind of range it has. Once you get the hang of it, though, you pick it up really, really quickly. It also just has a really satisfying, like, that whip snap kind of sound. Like, it just feels good. And even just for like open world traversal, that's actually one of the things I really like about just navigating. Once you get into the open world section and again the game opens up, is just, there was a bunch of times where this is like, do you want to go do this thing over here? And they usually drop you a vehicle. Like, there's usually a vehicle idling nearby. Like, no, I'm fine, I'll just run, because it's fun to just go over there. Like, you've got that kind of almost like, not quite an Assassin's Creed Legend of Breath of the Wild level of terrain mastery, but you can really, there's very little in the terrain that you cannot deal with, just with the power jump that you have and the grapple hook. So just moving around the world feels fun to do.
I love that the grapple hook from the moment go is like, yo, this is a part of the game and you're going to love it. And I really, really enjoy that the grapple hook is front and center. And I think one of the coolest parts is being in that open world and having the sandbox and feeling like you could go anywhere and do anything, and looking at enemy encampments and being like, well, I could rush headlong into this, or maybe I grapple hook the side of the hilltop over here and snipe down. And like, it is really, really fun to play with the equipment. And of course, by the time you hit the end of mission 4, we get introduced to the second piece of equipment. And what I really liked, and we talked about in a couple episodes before, is like, I'm already thinking about, how do I elevate the Spartan gameplay here in the sandbox? Because I want to go from grapple hook to sensor radar over into my thrusters. And I was really impressed that you can immediately switch, and there is no cooldown on switching. It's just the cooldown on each use of the item. But it is a little tricky. I will give, it's not like as easy as like a double B or double Y to do different things. You have to like down on the D-pad, then left, right, up, or center. So it does take a moment to roll with that. But it is nice to know that you will be able to like change some of these equipment combos together one day when you have them all unlocked, which will be cool.
Oh, completely agree. Couple things on that. So yeah, I like when I got the threat sensor, and obviously the mission that you get it in, you damn near need it when you encounter the boss. But I also went after a target, an elite that was going invisible. So immediately I was like, all right, let me switch over to the threat sensor so, I can see where he is, and then, I get to take him out. So absolutely love that. But one thing, going back to something Gary talked about at the very beginning, those first couple of missions are very linear, but then you get to that where you have your first boss encounter, and then you take out that boss. And then I may or may not have tweeted this. Some people knew what I was talking about, some people didn't. But I said, I just had my Fallout 3 coming out of the vault moment, where that first time you come out of the vault, out into the open world. Same thing here. You have this first time where you get to actually see Zeta Halo, and you come into that environment. And it's cool because they're not just allowing you like, oh, hey, look, you're on Halo, walk around and have fun. No, there's banished everywhere the second that you come out, and you got to take them out. And then you have to now start applying some of the things that you've learned with the equipment and the grapple hook and the various weapons that you've had a chance to use in the first couple of missions into the open world. And it matters. It's good. It felt fun to have those engagements. Another thing that Gary was talking about that I like is, yes, you can get your vehicles and traverse, but going on foot, you have those random encounters. Like, I think they're called, what is it? The propaganda beacons, I believe. Taking those out. Running into those and the grunts. I mean, hilarious commentary they have, all the time with various stuff. So it's like just little things that you get to do, but it's fun. I was having fun doing those. And, obviously, as we continue to progress through the game, I guess if I have a concern, I hope it doesn't become too repetitive, where I just feel like, do this, rinse and repeat, especially as we start to upgrade our Spartan, because I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to max everything out if I can. Absolutely. I want Chief to have his full arsenal ready to go. So I hope the difficulty scales with that in a sense, that as we get later into the game and as, Chief is more upgraded, the enemies, respond accordingly. And it really kind of forces you to use your entire toolbox to take out some of these enemies, especially, when you get into the boss encounters. That would be, like I said, not a concern. It would just be more of I hope that's where it's going. It feels like that's where they're going, but we'll obviously see once we get the final game.
It's funny, it almost feels kind of nostalgic to me, the experience of playing it. It actually kind of took me back to my memories of playing the original game, almost exactly 20 years ago, right? That's where we are at the 20th
20
anniversary. And it does feel, after especially Halo 5, which I know not everyone loved the direction they went in. I wonder if they specifically felt like they needed to course correct back a little bit more to kind of that spaghetti and meatballs. Like we'll give you the stuff that we know that you like. We're not going to regress, but we're gonna make sure that you get plenty of the kind of the Halo things that you've come to expect. And that opening mission, obviously you're on a Covenant ship, rather not a Covenant. I forget the names of the bad guys. They're all the same to me. I think Halo has a mythology problem. Banished, Covenant, it's all the same. Big hulking guys that go, oh, I'm very gruff and scary. Like I don't care. I have to shoot you. That's all I know. But it reminded me a lot of being aboard, the UNSC ship in the first missions of Halo, fighting, the alien bad guys, and then you leave, and it all feels very linear and corridors and relatively small. But then there's that great moment in the first Halo where you land on the Halo ring for the first time, and it feels like the game kind of the vista of the game literally opens up. You get that first panoramic shot of kind of the Halo extending into the distance, and you feel like, oh wow, now the game's opened up. Now I can explore. This is the world of the game. And I felt like they were almost kind of going through those same beats again. Let's give you some cool corridor battles. Let's have you navigate into some dark kind of interior spaces, have some firefights. But then of course we're gonna go to the Halo ring, which is where we know everybody wants to be. And now, of course, the game literally opens up, not just in terms of the vista, and now you see the sky, and it feels like a bigger world. But they've added this pseudo open world environment where even when you land on the Halo in Halo, and it feels like an open world, there's still like a waypoint you have to go to, and it's kind of leading you by the nose through the mission structure. Here there is a sense of like, you can go over here, you can go over there, and right off the bat, as soon as they show you that map, they start plonking down little things like, you can do this, you can do that, and there is immediately a sense of like, I can kind of choose how I want to approach this game.
One thing, sorry, one thing I meant to bring up when we talked about the fobs is when you do capture a fob, and now because the Banished has completely taken over Zeta Halo, so you're like slowly but surely taking everything back. So when you do get a fob, once that happens, then the weapon, your AI, the Cortana replacement, she now shows you more points of interest in that area that you can obviously go tackle as well. But speaking of her, that kind of brings me into the story. And again, no spoilers or anything. I'm being very vague on this. I am liking where it's going. And I've talked about this before as well, that, Halo has always been about Chief and Cortana. And I feel that there's a great moment early on that kind of addresses that. And I thought it was well done. And I love how now the weapon is the new AI who is basically a younger Cortana in a way. She's very naive. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago too. You have the battle hardened experience Chief, been through all of this, and you now have the weapon who is kind of his opposite, where she's coming brand new into this. And I love how she's questioning a lot of things, and the way Chief has to explain it to her. Like even when you have your first boss encounter, and I think this is in the one of the trailers they showed, she's all, well, maybe he's friendly or something. She says like that, and she's like, no, he's not.
They
you know what I mean?
are,
yeah, they never are. Just little things like that. But again, I won't spoil anything story wise. But I think I see where it's going, and I'm enjoying that, and the fact that you don't have, like, if you want to just rush through the story, you probably can, but you don't have to. You can do a story beat. Now, you know what? I'm going to go explore a little bit, hit some points of interest, upgrade, check out some random things, and then I'll come back to it. I will say again, another boss encounter that happened, won't spoil the area or whatever it is. I really enjoyed just getting inside, if you know what I mean, because there's this whole things you have to do just to get inside the quote unquote base to go face the boss in the first place. And I think I had more fun outside than I did inside. in that way, right? Because it made me think, and I had to use the grapple shot. And all right, what weapon do I got? Oh crap, I'm pinned down. All right, throw a grenade over here. It's like all these things are happening. It's like full on war, and it's just you.
Oh,
It's just Chief, right?
It's really cool because the sandbox, like the moment you bring up, for me, I actually had done a UNSC trooper like mission beforehand. So I had 5 Marines in my Warthog, and we rolled up to the front door, and I was like, oh man, I'm bringing my own little crew in here. This is cool. But yeah, I'm so glad you brought up the story, Paris, because that was the one thing I was like, make sure to ask Paris about this, because I actually love those two dynamics of the battle hardened, tried and true Chief, the green new AI, right? Questioning everything and like doubting Chief's skills, right? Of like, I don't know if you can do that. And then, of course, the pilot, who is the triangle of all this, the
pilot,
humanity side of like, hey, dude, I want to just get back to my family. I don't want to be here anymore. And Chief is like, no, we got the mission. We're going, And it's like, it's cool to feel those three go back and forth with each other. Is really, really great.
Yeah, because the pilot, for all intents and purposes, is us in this story, right? And I like how they've treated him so far as well.
I've got a lot of thoughts on the story just based on the first few hours, and again, some of it is not stuff we can talk about right now. In a few weeks, we'll be able to do a deep dive once the game is out. I will talk about some of the stuff that I like though, which is to follow on from what Paris was saying. For me personally, everyone's different, right? But for me personally, the Halo story, forget about the Covenant and the wider war and all that kind of stuff. And if you break it down to like what is interesting in terms of the characters and what's at the heart of it, for me, it's always been about Chief, Halsey, and Cortana, a kind of this triumvirate of characters that have this kind of weirdly, dysfunctional family where, Chief is obviously, kind of Halsey's son in a weird way. And there's almost like obviously kind of like a brother-sister type relationship between Chief and Cortana, and the great tragedy of when she goes rampant and all that stuff. There's interesting stuff there. And I've always kind of felt like Chief is the least interesting character of the three, because can't ever emote. He never really says very much. He's kind of a cipher. You never really get the sense of like, what's really making the guy tick. But Halsey in particular, Cortana, I think, these really, really kind of humanistic, very alive characters who feel a lot of things, and there's a lot going on there. And that's what has been in the Halo mythology up until now. And again, I think they've deviated from that in the past. What it feels like they're coming back to now, and again, this is just from the first few hours, the shadow of Cortana, or like Cortana is very present in the story, even though she's not physically there. There is a sense that this is a very Cortana centric story, right? And the new AI that you mentioned is very, very cool. Kind of like, again, like the new kind of naive model version of Cortana. And I just get the sense that the story, I hope, once we get more hours into it, is going to go to some interesting places in terms of those character relationships. In the early hours, it seems like that's what they are trying to set up.
Yeah, I would agree. Really completely agree.
I have one question, and it's a simple one, because y'all are the Xbox boys. I gotta trust y'all. I was a 360 kid, and then dropped off, and then finally got an Xbox for the first time. Like, what was it? A couple months ago for the first time in a very long time. Like, y'all were gonna check this game out no matter what, because Halo is very important. We just celebrated its 20th anniversary, all that stuff. For someone like myself, which I do think there are probably a good amount of people out there as well, who played the original trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, really liked Reach, and then kind of dropped off from there. And then you had the tried and true who were sticking with it with Halo 4 and Halo 5, and now we're here. Do you think it's worth it for people who dropped off like myself to check this out? Do you think we're going to get anything out of that campaign-wise? Because I already, the multiplayer dropped earlier this week, in beta and all that stuff, and gameplay, it's a fun time. But, are people like myself who haven't been really caught up in a while, are we going to find anything out of this to really enjoy?
I think so. I think even if you may be a little lost on the current story, where it all is, but I think, and again, I'm not trying to spoil anything, I think they try to, in a smart way, recap some of that stuff early on to get new people that are coming in to at least understand what the stakes are and why we are where we are. Like as an example, they do a good job with the Banished as far as saying, look, these mofos came in, we freaking lost. Okay, they got Zeta Halo. You know, the Banish are literally antagonizing Chief at certain points in it because you lose, right? And this is Chief. Hey, we can't let these guys have the ring. We got to go back. We got to do our thing, right? So that, in a way, I think does a good job of at least getting people to understand the stakes. And then after that, I mean, you know, you'll go through the story as it is as you're playing, but it's about the gameplay loop, man. I mean, I think just the fun of being able to play Halo, like to me, this so far feels like the spiritual successor to Halo 3. And that's a good thing for
That's
me.
awesome. Yeah.
Anyways, right? So yeah, man. I mean, I think if you've been a fan of Halo in the past, but you fell off like since Reach and obviously, you know, 4 and 5, I think this is a great way to get back into it and is probably going to re-energize you to really want to start investing in Halo again. I mean, obviously the multiplayer is separate, but from a campaign standpoint, yeah, I do think this is a good way to get back into it.
I'll find a recap video of 4 and 5 because I'm
I-
going back to play this. I'll be honest.
I would recommend you do that because as someone who is somewhat familiar with the Halo mythology, I don't think that this new game necessarily does a particularly. It doesn't go out. It doesn't go out of its way to kind of hold your hand and introduce or onboard anyone into the Halo universe if they're not familiar with it before. It kind of throws you in at the deep end. Some of the characters in the story are literally joking about how they can't keep up with everything that's going on. And wait, who are these people? Where did they come from? Like everyone's a bit like even the characters in the story are like kind of trying to catch up with current events. So there is this sense of like that you're a little bit kind of all at sea in terms of what's going on. Story-wise, it is an interesting kind of place where they've inserted it. It almost feels a little bit like where Halo 5 begins is almost kind of like where Infinity War ends and Endgame begins, right? Literally kind of a character floating, you know, a guy on a dead derelict ship floating in space and humanity's been destroyed. And, you know, there's a big Thanos type dude going, you know, it feels, it's an intriguing place to start the story. But the thing that I've been banging on for a long time about the Halo mythology is it's now laden under so many layers of stuff, the Covenant and the Flood and the Banished and this and that, and there's so much going on that for someone coming in for the first time, I just wish that they had been, that there was some kind of primer or some kind of thing, that some kind of story approach that made it a little bit more welcoming for people that don't necessarily know the many, many years and layers of Halo mythology and storytelling that have evolved over the years, because it is a lot. And I think a lot of it is impenetrable. And I think a lot of it is indistinguishable. When I saw the bad, I'm not going to go into any details, but like, I honestly didn't know if this bad guy was someone that I had seen before, or if this was a new character, because it just felt very generic to me. And I didn't necessarily feel like the story had gone to a new place in terms of who we're meeting and who we're interacting with. I couldn't tell if this was like, do we know this guy or is this new? It just felt a little bit kind of samey to me. And I feel like that's an issue that the Halo's had for a while. And I have this feeling that the story, because it's very Cortana centric, those are the kind of relationships that I've cared about in the Halo storytelling in the past, then it is going to get to that. There's a sense of like voices in Chief's head, and there's some kind of inner turmoil going on with him. If they end up diving into that, I think that can be interesting. But the larger galactic war against the kind of generic big scenery chewing bad guys, that stuff tends to leave me cold.
I'm a simple man, and I'm gonna break it down pretty easy. It's like, I think there's great callbacks for old school Halo players, and there's like three basic things, right? We have the Cortana piece that we'll figure out as we move on. There's some bad guys on this ring, and Master Chief is going to stop them. And I think, like you said, Paris, the Halo gameplay loop is going to keep you involved. But for people coming in, I think the story is going to be pretty much like a one shot where you're going to look at, and there's going to be big ties to the background. But if you're jumping in, you're going to know the main players, and you're going to know what's at stake. And I think it's very simple as that, which I really enjoy. I don't think it's too heavy-handed for me just jumping in. But before we take a break and hear a word from our sponsors, I have one final question for Paris and Gary. It's been a full year of a delay and more time for polish. Did it pay off, Paris Lilly?
I think it did. I absolutely think it did. And I know the multiplayer is a separate conversation, so I'll just focus this the campaign. We know what it looked like a year ago, which, you know, got everyone up in arms, Craig, memes, all that stuff. And I played on Series X. I would assume we all did. And visually, you see the improvements. It looked great. The controls felt good. Weapons felt good. Sound was good. If there was any glitch that I had while I was playing, I had some audio dropouts. There weren't a lot, but I had that a few times. But again, preview. They still got time to obviously work on that stuff. But the overall presentation of the campaign, you can tell they use their time wisely, and they're delivering, on something that, like I said at the beginning, is leaning towards being great, is leaning towards this is going to be a memorable experience that I'll want to have again. That's what I hope. Like when I talk about Halo 3 or Halo 2 as an example, I probably played those campaigns a million times because I just genuinely like playing them. This feels like we're going back to that, where I'm genuinely going to want to go back and play that campaign. We won't get co-op at launch, but when co-op comes and we go on Legendary and we start having all these wacky adventures together, as a group of 4, I can't wait to do those things. And I don't even want to think what this game would have been if it launched a year ago. I don't, because you can't tell me it would have been this polished, because that's the other credit to 343. It's coming in feeling polished. It feels ready. It doesn't feel like it's half baked. It doesn't feel like, man, I wish they took 6 more months. And I'm not saying this to shame or whatever, but you know how much I complained about Battlefield 2042 a few weeks back. I go, the game ain't ready. And then now we got the final game. That game ain't ready. This game is ready. And that's a good thing. So like I've said in the past, whoever made the call to say, you know what, let's delay this thing a year, kudos to them, because I truly think it's one of the smartest decisions Xbox has ever made. I really do, because I think if Infinite would have come in hot and buggy, it could have done permanent damage to the franchise.
Gary, year after a little work, feeling good?
Yeah, I agree. It was obviously the right decision. Paris doesn't want to think about what it would have looked like if it had shipped a year ago. Yeah, I agree. It would have been a disaster. As much as Cyberpunk 2077 has become kind of a poster child for why you should wait until a game is ready to ship in a negative way, I think Halo now, with its very public delay and now shipping in the great shape that it appears to be shipping in, is the poster child for why you wait in a positive way. It obviously has come such a long way since that first very unfortunate reveal that we all remember back from one of the very first Xcasts that we did. It looks great. I don't think it's the best looking next gen game out there currently, but it's up there. It's really, really pretty. I've been messing around with quality and performance mode. They both look great. I haven't decided which one I like yet, but it works really well in both. The multiplayer in particular, which is the thing that everyone's had a chance to really get their teeth into, because they did that surprise drop. Couple of things. The reason why I think people have responded to it so well is, first of all, it just does the job, right? They just nailed it. Like, it's fun to play. It looks good. It sounds great. I've been playing with headphones, and the sound design is just so good. It's just that just good old fashioned capture the flag, stronghold, oddball, the big team battles. Like, it's just fun to play. I was up until 1:00 in the morning last night doing the whole kind of just one more game thing.
Yeah.
It totally scratches that itch, and it takes me back to my old school, days of not just, original Halo multiplayer, but, Unreal Tournament and Quake and some of the old PC shooters, because I've been playing it on PC with a mouse and keyboard. So it's definitely given me those old school shooter vibes. And we'll go into more detail in it. But the other reason why people are responding so favorably, and what does this say about how much our standards have dropped, is the game ain't broken. It shipped and it works.
Wow.
It's holy shit. Wait, are you telling me this is a big online shooter that millions of people are suddenly flooding into to play, and it works and it's not broken, and I can get into a game and the matchmaking's not fucked up, and
especially with a surprise drop like that, like the
Right.
way it launched on Monday was
everyone piled in.
impressive. Quote unquote surprise, like there were the rumors and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
think there was like a brief
compared to
like,
Forza and like what the multiplayer in Forza has been looking like, where
Yeah,
Mike and
which
I
has
are
been a
banging
mess.
our heads against the table because we just want to
Yeah.
race together.
every
and then, like,
5 minutes, the
this-
Forza link
Yeah.
thing is telling me that it's disconnected, and
Yeah,
over and
I
over
get
and
the same.
over again. And again, look at the environment that the game is launching into, right? Again, to Paris's point, I've been playing Battlefield 2042. I already uninstalled it. I'm like, I'll put this back on when you get it fixed. That game was not ready to ship. Look at these Grand Theft Auto remasters that just shipped. What a mess. Rockstar just had to apologize over that shit. absolutely disgraceful. But we expect this over and over and over again. Thank God for Phil Spencer delaying this. And again, we talked about this so many times. Like, this game had to make a great first impression on release. It's done that now because they took the extra time to polish it, to do all the refinements. And again, it's sad that one of the things we're celebrating about Halo is that it ain't broken and it works. But the sad thing is that's no longer the norm. These big multiplayer environment, whether it's a shooter, whether it's an RPG, whether it's an MMO, whatever, anytime it's like a big online type experience where a lot of people are going to be jumping in, we're just expecting, like, what's it going to be this time? Is it going to be the servers are going to be broken? Is it going to crash? Is it this or is it that? This has been real. It's been one or two little glitchy things, but for the most part, it's been really stable. I have no trouble getting into matches. It works. There's no bugs. It's super, super fast. I haven't had any issues with lag or anything like that. It's just working really, really smooth out of the gate. And again, in an environment where we've come to expect so much less than that, I think Microsoft is to be applauded for shipping this in such a great state.
Absolutely. If I could say one last thing, because I know we're going to go to break, and unfortunately, I won't be back on the other side. I'm happy. I think that's the best way to sum this up. I'm happy because, we're celebrating the 20-year anniversary of Microsoft or Xbox and Halo. And, this was the game that got me excited about Xbox 20 years ago. And here we are 20 years later. And I feel that excitement again after what I've played. Like Gary's talked about, the multiplayer is just fun, man. It's just fun to go jump in there and play. We talked, you and I, Mike, when the rumor was coming around, we were like, man, I don't know, because this is going to be hard to launch. And they did it, and it worked, and everything's been virtually a pretty smooth experience. Hey, look, I'm sure you guys talk about the battle pass after I'm gone. But other than that, the campaign, it's fun to play. I think about it when I'm not playing it, right? And that's the mark of a great game. So I think what they're delivering here, what everyone's going to be able to get on December 8th, so far, again, preview, so far, I think you should be excited about it. And it makes me happy because I just want to play great games. That's all I care about. Just give me a fun game to play. And Halo is a game I've loved for 20 years. And look, as recently as 6 months ago, I was worried. I was like, I don't know, we'll see. But they've convinced us. They've been all summer. They've been convincing us, from that first technical preview to here we are now with the campaign preview. They've shown that 343 has really been committed to making the best Halo they possibly can. And I really do think they're going to deliver. So kudos to everybody over at that studio. It could not have been easy these past 18 months doing this in a pandemic. So for them to be able to deliver, like I said before, this polished experience that is no longer the norm, unfortunately, they deserve a lot of credit for that. So I truly hope they get their flowers on December 8th when everyone gets a chance to play it.
Heck yeah. And with that, let's take a word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by DraftKings. What an NFL season it's been so far, or so Andy tells me. And it's only getting better. Get in on all the action still to come with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can play free for millions with their first deposit. Don't miss your shot to get some skin in the game. Playing daily fantasy football is simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars while staying under the salary cap and score enough points to bring home cash. And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the NFL action like never before. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code KindaFunny to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code KindaFunny to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Do not miss out. Download DraftKings and play with the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Next up, shout out to Fitbod. Don't get stuck in your workout routine. That's why Fitbod creates a fitness program that adapts to you based on your unique body, experience, and environment with new exercises and dynamic intensity. So you're always challenged, but always at your own pace. Gia's been using this and it's been super fun for her to kind of like not do the same old thing, but kind of to always have something new to look forward to when she is working out and getting in shape, which she loves to do. Their algorithm algorithm uses data and analytics to help you build on your last workout. Fitbod workouts are balanced to avoid overwork in muscles with varied exercises to keep you sharp. So whether you're exercising 3 days a week or twice a day, every workout is scientifically proven to be better than the last. Fitbod is only $12.99 a month or $79.99 a year, and you'll get 25% off your membership with our link. Pick up the pace on your fitness journey with Fitbod today, and your future self will thank you. You can get 25% off your membership at fitbod.me/kfgames. That's 25% off at fitbod.me/kfgames. fitbod.me/kfgames. And finally, shout out to Native. We here at Kinda Funny love the smells of the holiday season, and now you can smell like the holidays because we're talking about deodorant, baby. Native deodorants are formulated with ingredients you actually know, like coconut oil and shea butter. Plus, they don't use stuff like aluminum, parabens, or sulfates. Ew, yucky. And with their classic scents and rotating seasonals, they have plenty of choices, even candy cane, fresh mistletoe, sugar cookie. G, she likes sticking with the classic, but I can attest to this. She smells fantastic day in and day out, and that's thanks to Native. Native is also good for the planet. They offer a deodorant in 100% recyclable material, plus they're vegan and never tested on animals. Keep the scents of the season with you with Native's limited time holiday scented deodorants. Go to nativedeodorant.com and use code KFGames to get 20% off your first purchase at checkout. That's nativedeodorant.com, code KFGames for 20% off. Nativedeodorant.com, code KFGames.
Welcome back, everybody. We say goodbye to one gaming dad, but I still have my number one right here. Gary Whitta's rocking with me, and we get to talk about the surprise launch of Halo Infinite multiplayer. It's a beta, Gary. It's a beta, so not official launch, but it is a very awesome stealth launch on November 15th to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Halo and Xbox. It was something that was rumored the week before throughout the weekend. We didn't know if it was really real, but all signs led to it was about to go down and it was going to be real, so you should take some time off. But it did launch, and we are living in it, Gary. And I want to talk about your experiences in the multiplayer realm of Halo Infinite because, like you said before we took the break, this game launched, and it launched well. It is not broken. It plays well, and I'm very impressed with what we got. So I want to give you the rundown of some of the cool things you have in this. So it launched with the full multiplayer suite. You got quick play, bot boot camp, big team battle, and ranked arena. It has 10 maps of varying sizes and modes like Slayer, CTF, Oddball, Stronghold, Stockpile, and Total Control. Of course, there's different, I like to call it small, big, and medium is what I've put a couple of them on there that could go either way. But on top of that, over there for multiplayer, you also have Academy and custom games. And Gary, I'm going to tell you one thing right now and all the listeners out there. If you enjoyed the Halo Infinite campaign talk and you're jazzed up about more Halo story and more Halo lore, do me a favor. Take the 15 minutes and go play the Academy tutorial. This has a stellar, incredible CGI cutscene and trailer. It has some really awesome in-game moments and cutscenes throughout it, and it has some nice little breadcrumbs about the Halo story and universe that you're going to be jumping into really, really soon. So take the time to play that. But one thing that I really loved, Gary, is this game launched with full custom games on dedicated servers running off Azure, which Azure PlayFab, which I'm very impressed with, allowing up to 28 people in a lobby. You can play 12 versus 12 big team battle games with 4 people spectating. And this is one of those, when I talk about multiplayer games with my friends, we always harp on it, Gary. It's 2021. We expect crossplay. I expect custom games. I expect a spectate mode. These are things that we need to continue to progress into the multiplayer world at launch and beyond, because it makes these games have such a long life and so much more fun. And I am blown away by how strong the custom game is, where you can bring in all your friends on a dedicated server and be able to play and spectate. It's just good, and it just works, Gary, and it's so much fun to be jumping in this first week. So you were the one. You're my Bambi. You're my young buck stepping into the Halo multiplayer. And he said, Mike, I don't know where I stand, but now after you telling us at the beginning of the show and now, it sounds like you're having a good time, Gary.
I will start with a statistic that I'm pretty sure is accurate, which is I've played more Halo multiplayer in the past week than I've played in the past 20 years.
I like that stat. I like
Because
that stat a lot.
I had dabbled with Halo multiplayer with every release a little bit, but I never really got into it. I found it just wasn't. I couldn't like fully lock into it. There's something about this iteration of it though. Like you said, it's so polished, it's so robust. This really has been like a week of surprises with this multiplayer. They dropped it, again, it was rumored, but they dropped it on the surprise date. A nice surprise for everyone on that November 15th. 20th anniversary date. Everyone, of course, rushing right away to go download it. Free to play. We love that. It's surprising how robust, like you said, how robust it is. Right, it works. It actually, again, the standards are low these days, but it's a big online multiplayer shooter that just works. I could, if I find it, I could be in a game in like 60 seconds, which is more than you can say for like Battlefield 2042 or a lot of these other broken ass games that ship, in a real messy state. And it already has all the bells and whistles, the kind of things that you usually expect to say, oh, it's on our roadmap down the road, is here from day one. The things that are important to me: cross-play, cross-progression,
Gotta have
custom games.
Must have.
They've got it all. So, I've got it on the Series X upstairs. I'm playing on a controller. I've got it on the PC down here. I'm playing on mouse and keyboard. I've got it installed on Steam, and it just works. My progression's carrying over. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe you can educate me, Mike. How exactly, when I'm playing in terms of crossplay, when I'm in a lobby, when I'm in a map playing with people, if I'm on PC, am I playing with a mix? Are people playing as a mix of PC and Xbox people? So some are on controller, some are on keyboards. I love that. I actually have to figure out what I'm most comfortable with. It's interesting. I'm almost developing two different skill sets right now because I'm playing on the Xbox with my controller, but when I come down to my computer, I want to play mouse and keyboard because I'm a PC guy. I tried playing. I thought maybe I should just like standardize everything on controller so that I'm not like kind of splitting my my kind of talent development, my skill development. I want to dial into one thing, but I tried playing on controller on a PC. It doesn't work for me. I'm a mouse and keyboard guy. I've even earlier today I was messing around with the settings, the field of view slider, the mouse sensitivity, look acceleration, all that kind of stuff. Just trying to figure out like how do I dial in the controls, so that I really do feel like I have the potential to be not terrible at this game. And some of it is going in and making some of those fine tune adjustments. I also really, really appreciate another thing that I love it when shooters do, and they don't do enough of it. Really, it really does onboard you, I think, in a very friendly way. Like you said, the academy, it's got these really friendly shooting ranges. You can, if you do want to mess around with your mouse and keyboard settings or your controller, settings, things like that, messing around with your left and right stick dead zones and look acceleration, stuff like that. You don't have to go into like a hot shooting war and get killed all the time when you're figuring it out. There's a nice little academy. There's a nice, you can run around in a shooting range, practice with the different guns. You can play against bots. There's all kinds of things you can do to try and get your feet under you and feel like you're ready to play before you go into playing against multiplayer people. And so the ranked games are there, the casual games are there, quick play, big team battle. I feel like they did check all the boxes right out of the gate, and there's going to be a lot of stuff they're going to add. There'll be more maps, there'll be more game modes, there'll be more battle pass features, and I'm sure we'll talk about battle pass. A year from now, the game's going to look a lot more robust than it does right now. But this game shipped on day one for free, way more robust than we have come to expect from any kind of online experience these days, and it's very impressive.
It's so impressive, Gary. It is so much fun to play, and I'm loving every moment of it. It is incredible on PC. This is the first ever Halo game that was built from the ground up for PC as well, right? And that's a tough burden to ask of a group that has been taking a lot of licks over the past Halo 4 and Halo 5 generations to say, you know what, we're going to put it on the ecosystem now. And it feels so good on mouse and keyboard, Gary. It is scary to me that I am now putting down my Xbox controller, which is what Halo was all about, and playing on mouse and keyboard every single night and having a blast. And you touched on it, right? Crossplay just works. That's one thing. A lot of people out there promote crossplay, but then you have so many issues at launch and for a couple of months until it actually truly works. This works. It is, invites are being sent out, custom games are filling out. You can play up to 12 people into a big team battle and just search for a lobby. Is a ton of fun, and it is really impressive. And I'm loving what we've seen from the different maps. You know, I'm a big multiplayer guy, and when we talk about launch, you always try to think about what do you really want. You want a lot of maps at launch. You want some good game modes, and I do have one small issue, and that is after 20 hours plus since Monday of Halo Infinite multiplayer, I do wish that we would elevate the options within multiplayer. So right now you only have quick play, big team battle, and ranked arena, right? So that means I don't have any choice on if it's Slayer, if it's CTF. Usually there's a Slayer, there's a team objective type gameplay list that you can choose from. Right now it's just kind of stuck into those three. So I do look forward to a month down the line at full launch of December 8th, or even further when we do open that up, because I do feel restricted where I click on Team Arena and I'm just kind of stuck on a lot of capture the flags or oddballs when maybe I want more Slayer or vice versa. Right now, it's just those three. So I do look forward to seeing them opening that up and really letting us loose here soon.
I wasn't entirely sure about that. I know that on in the menu there's something that says game list when you do quick play. I'm not sure if you're able to select the mode you want to play or if it really is just like what it coughs up. The nice thing about it though, regardless of how it works, is I've been happy to press quick play or big team battle. Always just gives you a random game mode. It could be anything. Is that all of them? There isn't a mode that I don't like. Like they're all fun. I like Oddball. I like Stronghold. I don't love the Power Cells one. But I like, Slayer is fun, but like pretty much any map, any combination of map and game mode that comes up, I'm like, sure, let's play this. It's, there isn't anything that I'm like, oh, really, this again. So, and like I said, this is just what they're shipping with. There'll be more modes and more maps to come. But yeah, I'm perfectly happy just to kind of randomize the experience every time. I haven't dared go into the ranked arenas yet. I worry that once I step up there, it's going to get harder. I'm happy to just play quick plays and big team battles with the casuals for right now. But I don't know. Do you want to talk about this battle pass, because that's been the big talking point?
Let's talk about this battle pass right after we talk about the store and cosmetics, and that will tie into the battle pass. Of course, we talk about launching with a very robust, breath of fresh air of different game modes and all the offerings, right? And it does offer a full-on storefront, which I am impressed with, right? This is a Fortnite, Call of Duty, whatever you want to compare it to, storefront, where it's going to update daily and update weekly. You can buy credits to buy certain items. And the one reason why I wanted to bring this up is I am so impressed because a big factor of Halo is, of course, esports and the HCS, the Halo Championship Series, and how this will become a big thing for Halo to promote Halo Infinite multiplayer will be their esports world. And I am blown away that they worked with all of the teams to create their very own, like, legit Halo HCS competitive team kits, and you can buy it day one. And
they look great.
Good,
they're really well
Gary.
designed. Yeah.
They are hands down the best part about the game. And I really love repping Space Station Gaming. That's our new esports team. Gary, that's the family we're going to jump into, just so you know. And I love
that armor set is really cool.
Oh, they did a great job for all the teams, and it's truly impressive to be able to do that and then get people excited for Halo esports down the line when they have their first HCS Invitational. And the cool part is I love that. The issue that I have, Gary, is I cannot customize that at all. And that's where we're going to get into the storefront. We're going to talk about the battle pass and the cosmetic items. The issue that I'm having right now is I'm repping the team kit, but I'm not allowed to change anything about it, from shoulder pads to helmet to visor. You are locked in to this team kit with the colorway and the Spartan armor. And it really detracts me now from getting excited about the battle pass or buying anything off the storefront, because I can't mix and match anything. And, I get it on one side, I get it on the other side. So I definitely understand everywhere where it's coming from. It just feels like now I'm deterred away from the battle pass because I don't care about any of the items, because I want to rock this team's outfit, but I can't put on any of that cool battle pass gear because it won't allow me to do that. So for me, I've been turned off from the battle pass, and I know we'll talk about the battle pass progression in a different side, but like when you look at customization in your Spartan and the colors in the store and the battle pass, from an overall customization, are you happy with what you can do?
First of all, Mike, I got to say, I'm not really sure you can say you've been turned off the battle pass when you're level 61 or something? You're further along that battle pass than anyone else I know.
That's because I've been buying levels, Gary, and we'll talk about that. I've been buying levels, so everybody in the comments, don't get all uptight. I've been buying levels.
Because again, we're going to talk about it. Like, my experience in going through the battle pass is like it's so slow, right? To advance. So when I saw you at 61, I'm like, what the hell is that like? Is even if you play 24/7, no sleep, that can't possibly be possible. But yeah, you can obviously the Microsoft is perfectly happy for you to spend a lot of money on this game if you want to, not pay to win, but like pay to progress, I guess would be what you call it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy about that, right? As somebody who, we live in a world of choice. You have options. You can either earn it, you can buy it, whatever. You just go have fun with it, right? And for me, like I just brought up about rocking the team kit and like really being committed to rocking this cool colorway and esports jersey, we'll call it, right? All of the battle pass is now really nothing to me. I look at the battle pass, I'm like, well, I don't care for that visor. I don't care for that helmet anymore. But the reason why I'm so far along in the battle pass is because I have identified one item that I really do care about, and that's new AI unlocked at 70. And I want this big old bulgy-eyed AI really bad, Gary. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it, even if I pay for it. And my issue was why I started to pay for it is I noticed, man, that's unlocked at level 70. And I have now played this for 8 straight hours, and I'm still level 1 and level 2.
I know.
Because for me, I'm not doing the challenges, right? There's a lot of different ways you approach video games, right? Some people like that kind of direction. They like challenges to do within the game. And some people just want to play, right? For me, Halo is a team arena. I want to go out and win. I want to help the team, however it may be, defending, capturing, getting the most kills, getting assists, whatever that may be. That's how I want to play. I don't want to be told, use a shotgun, backstab somebody, play this certain game mode. Like, that's all well and good for XP if that's how you like it. But like for me, I'm there to play. I'm there to win. I'm there to play at my own style. And I like being rewarded for that as other battle passes are. But this battle pass, as we knew coming into it, was going to be different. They wanted to base it off the challenges. They wanted you to do that kind of stuff. And we've seen 343 now, after 1 week of being out, be really open and honest of saying, hey, we're listening to you, community, and we're going to reflect that. And I have the changes written up, but your first initial thoughts of that, Gary, now that you have the game in hand, you see the battle pass, what did you think about the challenges and progression?
It was definitely jarring when I first realized just how slow and gradual and glacial the pace of progression is. It's not what I'm used to. It's not what a lot of people are used to. I think that's why so many people have had such a strong reaction to it in the early going. Typically in any leveling system, whether it's an MMO or a battle pass or any kind of game where you progress through levels, the game is generally fairly generous with those opening levels, right? To encourage you, to make you feel like, hey, I can do this. Hey, I dinged already. I'm level 2. Have a trinket, have a cosmetic, have a reward, have a cookie. Keep playing. But there's another cookie for you at level 3. And generally, as you go, each level's just a little harder to reach than the last. Like that's pretty basic. I mean, the last battle pass type game system I can think of like really engaging with is Fall Guys, and that's what Fall Guys does, right? It gives you levels nice regularly early on, and it gives you lots of little cosmetics and goodies and kudos and things along the way, and you feel like you don't have to play very long before you felt like you got the cookie, right? Halo does not give out any cookies easily. It's every time, and it's the way. First of all, it's really, really stingy. If you like to see your numbers go up, level 2, level 3, ding, 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 this is not the game for you. You're gonna really, really have to grind to get there. I mean, listen, I've been playing a lot. I think I'm level 6. In any other kind of game, if I've been playing for this long, I'd probably be level 20 or 30 by now because I've been playing it a lot. And it's been hard to get used to. Obviously, the community's not been thrilled. 343 have already come out and done an adjustment to the challenge system. The challenge system is a whole other thing. Jeff Gersman made an interesting comment about it. Someone who really likes the game as much as we do mentioned that I'm stuck with this challenge that says you got to blow up a warthog. Well, what if I don't want to play the big team battle type maps that have those vehicles? Why do I have to do this? And I know they have the challenge swap system and you can swap those out, but I don't know. It kind of feels like some of the things it's asking you to do are sometimes also antithetical to being a team player. Like if I'm get 5 headshots, get 5 melee kills, do 5 things in a very specific way. That might, if I want to contribute to a capture the flag game or a stronghold game, that might not be what I want to do. I want to be helping the team, and I'm considered getting headshots is something I would do, like camping out with a sniper rifle or something. But I don't want to be doing that right now. I want to be capping flags and things like that. So the challenge system is weird. The biggest complaint that I've heard, and it's certainly been my biggest complaint, is it doesn't reward you for how well you do in general. Right? They have a system now. It's just like play. The thing that the bone that they tossed us when we first started complaining was just play any game, and we'll give you 50 XP, I think it is.
The XP, yeah.
And so you got to play I think you got to play roughly 20. If you don't get any other challenge points, you got to play like 20 rounds to go from one level to the next. That's a lot to get one ding, to get one cookie. And I played the biggest deflating moment I had. And again, I love this game. I'm having a blast with it. These are minor, quibbles that I think they're going to fix. But it was kind of deflating. I played a really great game. I got like 25 kills and only like 10 deaths. It was a very good KD ratio for me. I capped a couple of flags. I felt like I really achieved something. And at the end, the game gave me nothing. It was like, congratulations, you played a game. And it's the same reward it would have given me had I lost. I kind of feel like it should be giving me XP, and it should be giving me bonuses based on how well I did. How good's your KD? How many kills did you get? How many flags did you capture? What was your overall score? Did your team win or lose? Things that should factor into how lavishly you're rewarded. It's nice that they give you XP even if you lose. Well, you played a game, you have something, but I feel like it shouldn't be the same meager rewards whether I did well or whether I did poorly. It should reward me for the things that I do well, just in general, not the specific things it wants me to do well, but just the things that we know, are the basic metrics of multiplayer shooters. How many kills did you get? How many times did you die? How many times did you complete the objectives in the game, capturing flags or securing strongholds or whatever? Did you win or lose? It doesn't factor in any of that. I don't know. Have you felt this?
I feel that, Gary. And you actually said a really good one of I had a perfect example in a match where we were playing against a team, and I could tell that there was somebody on the opposite team who was clearly trying to complete a challenge that they were not well equipped to complete, where it was like, hey, use this gun and kill X amount of people, right?
Right.
And I could see them. They were standing there by the weapons rack every time I ran across that side of the map, and they were clearly fumbling the bag when it came to grabbing this gun and killing people. And it was like, oh, you're not helping the team at all. Like, I can just see it. Clear as day. We run over to this corner. You're going to be standing there. You don't know how to shoot this gun, and we're going to murder you, and you're not helping. And that does detract from the team play aspect, which, I know they took a lot of conversation about, and they might feel a different way about that. But you can see it clear as day when some people are trying to do certain challenges, and it's not really jiving with the gameplay, unfortunately. But yeah, it's tough to sit there and play hours upon hours and not see that bar go up. But we do have some initial changes coming in from 343, and I'll read the statement to everybody just so you're caught up. But this is week 1. This is what their vision was, and now they're going to reflect and listen to the community, which is what 343 has been doing this entire time with Halo Infinite. They've had one goal, and that's been to be transparent, to listen, and to adjust, and make this the best Halo possible. So right now, here is your new Battle Pass adjustment. Added, play one game challenges to help you consistently progress through the Battle Pass. Adjusted, fix bugs with and remove some weekly challenges. That these tunings to challenge difficulty will directly speed up your progress. Double the duration of double XP boosts from 30 minutes to 1 hour. The menu may show their expected duration as 30 minutes, but the timer will start from 1 hour once activated. To make up the resetting, your challenges with this update will be granting the first week's ultimate reward, the Sigil Mark 7 visor, to everyone who logs in from November 23rd to the 30th. So a free gift right there if you log in. Make sure to be there. We'll be watching these changes closely to make sure they have the positive impact we all want. This is only the first step. We are committed to continuing to evolve these systems, but it will take time. Thanks for joining us on our beta, and keep the feedback coming. So pretty positive there, right, Gary?
No,
I'm into it. You got to
I'm glad that they responded as quickly as they did, and there are some positive moves, and it's nice to be able to play a game and know that you're going to get at least some XP. But it touches on a really interesting point. Those weekly challenges, that's another part of the issue, right? It's one thing to say, oh, I want to do as many challenges as possible because they all will add up to my XP total. I'll level up more quickly. But there is also, like you said, this concept of there are specific weekly challenges that if you complete them all within that 7-day period, you'll get this ultimate reward at the end. So there's going to be a lot of people that want those rewards, right? So they're going to be running around mostly concerned with the individual achievements, like get 5 headshots, blow this up, do this, get a bunch of melee kills, whatever it may be. There's all kinds of difficult ones, but they're all like personal objectives, but they're all team games. And I think you're right. I'm sure you're not the only person that's seen somebody on a team game running around just trying to fulfill personal objectives so that they can get that ultimate reward when they should be doing stuff that helps out the team. Again, not everyone plays that way anyway. Not everyone they play capture the flag is doing the shit they're supposed to be doing. They're just running around shooting people. When I play in it, I got really annoyed at someone earlier today. Like there was a flag carrier who didn't know what he was doing, like tearing my hair out. Like, go this way. You're supposed to take the flag back to our base. Like when you're on a team game, you have a responsibility to the other members on your team. And what I worry is that Microsoft or 343 have inadvertently baked in these incentives to not be a team player. And it's, why don't you do these personal challenges? Well, because that's not compatible with me wanting to help out my team. So maybe they will listen to the community and do things like, hey, your team, again, I think it should be very simple. Get 50 XP. Here's one simple thing. Get 50 XP if you play a game. Get double XP if you play a game and you actually won it. If your team won it, everyone gets double XP. Very, very simple. So at least you get a sense of, hey, that actually worked out for me. I played well. My team won. And I'm getting an extra reward for doing well. The other thing with the Battle Pass that I think really people are shocked by is it is so stingy. And I get it. The game is free to play, right? But if you want to progress in any meaningful way, you've got to buy the Battle Pass, right? You've got to spend the $10. And again, even if it's $10, that's a great value for what you're getting here with this multiplayer experience. But even after you've spent the $10, I'm going through, how Battle Passes work. You can scroll through and see the stuff that is coming down the road. I'm at level 4, but I want to know what I'm going to get at level 5, 6, 7. So I can scroll through it and see, or I'm clicking on these different rewards. I said to you before the show, Mike, there was one really cool visor, just a visor, not a big deal, but it was something that looked good to me. And I clicked on it. It said unlocks at level 98. I'm gonna be fucking 80 years old by the time I get that visor, unless they severely change how they implement the Battle Pass progression. It's hard to see how any of these rewards are reasonably in reach of a lot of people, unless the whole point here is to get the whales, the people like you, Snowbike Mike, drop in the $150 to get there. I'm just gonna buy the stuff, because it almost I don't want to say this because it's such an insulting thing to say, but it almost feels like kind of a mobile type economy, or the kind of stuff that Activision has been caught up doing in the past, or EA, where it's like yes, you can grab this stuff through grinding, but it's such an uphill battle to get that stuff through grinding. You may as well just pay for it. Like they make it so hard to earn through work that they are funneling everyone into just pay the $10. Just pay the $10 and you can get it right away. And I think that's a little bit cynical. And it's the one thing I would put against the game so far is I feel like the Battle Pass progression and the way in which it seems to be really, really be encouraging you to buy those Halo credits and spend real money just feels a little bit graspy right now.
I will tell you, Gary, right now, it's going to cost you about $200 to $250 to max out that Battle Pass dollar-wise. The positive is the Battle Pass will live forever, so you don't have to rush to unlock everything. The Battle Pass is not going to expire, so that's cool. As well, a little feedback for the 343 team. If I'm going to buy the Battle Pass, like I have done with certain aspects of it, please allow me to click on a level and spend as many tokens as I have. Because right now you have to buy each level individually. And Gary, let me tell you what, that is a time-consuming task, because I have to click on the level. I have to click buy. Then another pop-up pops up. Then another pop-up pops up. Then I have to hit back. Then I buy the next level. So if we could just streamline me giving you my money, would be terrific. Just something to think about.
Honestly, call up your former coworkers of the Greg Miller Industries, get them to come in your house and
press the button for me.
It's surprising, because usually the one thing that these game designers, these UX designers, make sure they always make really easy is spending money. They never want to make
your money, Gary.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you want to just press one button and spend all your money right away? We'll make that. We can do that for you. That's usually how these games operate.
I do want to end the show with some hype and some positivity and some fun, because it has been an incredible week. here on the Xbox side, from seeing Forza having such a great launch with some incredible numbers, to us going on with a hands-on preview of Halo Infinite campaign, and now everyone jumping into Halo Infinite multiplayer beta. So, Gary, I want to talk about some really fun moments within the beta that you've had. I want you to tell me a story that you love, or tell me one of your favorite maps. Tell me your favorite game mode, because for me, I'm really loving Capture the Flag. I love the team objective-based games. I like big team battle, Capture the Flag. One thing I noticed, though, there's not one bomb or two bomb assault, and I really miss that because I do love the bomb assault game modes, but I'm loving the big team maps right now. I look over at all of the lists of the maps, and I've been loving Launch Site. I think is really, really cool. It has such a cool, like, diverse look than the other big maps. I do like High Power and Deadlock and Fragmentation. I think the big team maps are stunning, beautiful, have a lot of areas to get lost in and to have small firefights in a different pocket than everybody else. I like that they upped it to 12v12. I love the vehicles. I like the vehicle drop-ins off the Pelicans of, like, you're fighting, and then all of a sudden the Pelican comes in and it's like, we're dropping a Scorpion tank, and you're like, everybody get over there and get this Scorpion tank. Like, I'm having a ton of fun with this game, and every single night I want to play more of it. And like I brought up before, Gary, I have to give so much credit to 343 for dropping custom games ready to go, working well, and with a spectate mode. I think, Gary, you know, as me, I'm an aspiring shoutcaster, and I love putting my hands off the sticks and just screaming and shouting and bringing the fun to gaming. And we did that on Wednesday night. I shut down gaming. I said, friends, let's make a custom lobby. Let's get you all in. And I'm going to shoutcast these games just for my personal fun. And it worked, Gary. And it was a blast. And that is something that I wish I could have done with Call of Duty Warzone. I wish I could have done with Battlefield. I wish I could have done with so many other first-person shooters. And none have gotten it dialed in like Halo on day one. So those are some of my favorite memories so far.
I've been watching some YouTube clips of some of the insane shit that people are doing in Halo already, like, you know, detonating a grenade under a vehicle to blast it like way high in the sky and then rappelling onto it, grappling onto it and flying over the map and in 360 no-scoping people from like way high up in the sky. I mean, these players are on another level. But even just at my level, one of the things that I love about it is like, it's just that, like, it's just fucking delightful chaos all the time. Like, shit, warthogs are blowing up. Shit's getting blasted out of the sky. Grenades are going off everywhere. People are exploding and flying across the map. It's just got that feeling of, like, it's just old school fun. I like the fact that you can tell by just the fact that, like, all the in-game announcers, like, there's a certain campiness to it. It's like they're having fun. This isn't serious. The announcer voices are very kind of campy and silly and over the top, and there is a sense like we're having the campaign game is where things get serious and where we get into the kind of the inner psyche of Master Chief and the fate of the universe and that serious shit. But when we get into the multiplayer realm, it's just all bets are off, just like nonstop 24/7 chaos. And I need to go into the theater and look at some of my clips, but there's been so many moments already. I'm like, I got to record that. I got to clip that. There's just so much fun stuff happening. I get a lot of I get frustrated. I've almost rage quit several times. I get into like one-on-one firefights with people. And, you know, it comes down, they just beat you by a whisker and you want to smash the keyboard, but then, no, I'll get him next time. It keeps bringing you back into the game. The porridge is just right, Mike. Like, it's one of those things that's hard to explain until you put the controller or a mouse and keyboard in someone's hands. I was really surprised by this. I played a bunch of different shooters over the past couple of years, none of which really gelled with me. I wasn't expecting to get sucked into this one. As you know, I've been, I kind of here and there with Halo over the years. I've never been kind of the biggest fan of it. That's really kind of been your and Paris's territory. I didn't do the test flights, but now that I'm playing it, I'm absolutely smitten, and I'm just having so much fun with it.
Gary, I didn't get to talk about it in the campaign, but once a banished brute, threw an energy cell at me, and I freaking grapple hooked it out of the sky and threw it back at him. One of my favorite things in multiplayer is I load into the map and I grab an energy cell and I just directly run at people. I don't shoot. I don't do anything. I'm looking to Joe Montana this energy cell into your face and hopefully murder you with it, because it is an awesome clippable moment that only happens in Halo. And I love it so much. It's just like dumb shenanigans happen right now. with this one.
Anytime I can get on a turret, anytime I can get into the back of a warthog, even if it's just like no one's driving it, like that's still a
Just there.
stationary turret, right? You can still use the
Yeah.
gun or get on, one of the big tripod mounted machine guns, or get into a good sniper nest. I love to camp. I love to shoot people from like enclosed positions. And my favorite thing about that is after you've got several kills, you start to see the sniper, the lens flashes because you realize that on the other side, people are like, we got to do something about this fucking
get
guy.
this guy.
He's murdering us. And you start to realize that people are now starting to get pissed off and they're making it their personal mission to get you out of that nest or get you off that turret. I love it when that happens.
I love that, Gary. And you know what? Big shout out to the equipment and how good it plays out, right? That's one thing when we looked at it, right? We talked on the campaign side about equipment, but really a multiplayer, you're getting to use the equipment early, right? You are seeing Master Chief's equipment from the recon to the shield to the grapple hook to the thrusters. And I love that, like, they've done a really good job at it's not infinite. It has a limited amount of uses you can use, but it just feels so good the moment you run over it. And now it's there. It's in your arsenal, and you can use it however you want. I mean, grapple hooking the flag to bring it over to you is awesome. Grapple hooking weapons off the ground to bring it to you is cool. Grapple hooking onto the back of opponents and backstabbing them. I mean, nothing is cooler than that. They've done a really good job with the equipment, because I think back to like Halo 4, where we had like loadouts and you could get the power armor lock, or you could get sprint or invisibility. And it's like, those were all great, but this is the right formula where we're all on an even playing field, and those power weapons and equipment truly shift the tide of battle. And it's really, really cool to see how well they balance those.
It's just fun. I was playing a game earlier. It was a
Fun.
big team battle, capture the flag mode, and I was on defense. I'm going to hang back and defend the flag. And three enemy players like rolled in on a warthog, one driving, one in the passenger seat, one on the turret gun, and they had a whole strategy. They knew what they were going to do. It's the whole smash and grab. Like, we're going to run in, we're going to shoot up a bunch of people. Someone's going to jump out, grab the flag, jump back in the warthog, and then we're going to get out of there. They did that. They got the flag out, but we shot the guy out of the passenger seat. We shot the guy off the turret. The guy in the passenger seat had the flag, and he was getting anytime people come in with a vehicle to grab the flag, you got to get them, because they're going to get the flag all the way over to the other side. Once they get out of like the immediate kind of danger zone, they start booking it across the map. They're probably going to get the flag back. And one of the guys on our team from like an elevated position hit them with the last rocket that he had and like blew up the warthog, and the flag goes flying. It's just it's one of those games where like you've got so many fishing stories from playing it. Like every time that I play it, like I want to go tell someone, oh, you wouldn't believe what happened in this game of Halo I just played. It has that feel to it, and that really is the highest recommendation I can give.
It's terrific. And guess what? It is technically still in beta till full release on December 8th, but this is running well, playing well, and it just freaking works. And it's a fun time. So go out there, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your holiday week filled with Halo shenanigans and fun. Thank you for listening to our preview of Halo Infinite campaign. Let us know down in the comment section below. Are you excited to jump into Master Chief boots and hit Zeta Halo? Let us know in the comments below. But you can always catch me and Gary out in the Team Slayer arenas of Halo Infinite Beta. If you want to come play some multiplayer with us, come find us on Xbox. I'm at Snowbike Mike. Gary Witter, what's your Xbox name?
My gamer tag is just Witter, WHITTA.
Okay.
And that's where you can find me. I will be playing a lot of Halo over the Thanksgiving weekend, I'm sure.
You know it. And with that, that is the end of your Kind of Funny Xcast here for the week. We'll see you back next week for a holiday fun episode. Peace, everybody.